Good morning, beautiful people. Welcome to Weaves of Waves. The sound quality is going to be on and off. There is diggers moving around, and I can't judge when they're about to stop or start. So I'm going to just be humorous about it and just allow it to happen, because it can either make the noises have been a little bit much. It's the vibrational levels, and I'm like, oh, that's setting my teeth on edge. So anyway, it's a really miserable day out. It's cold, it's wet, it's damp, it's miserable. It's like, okay, well, let's cheer you all up with something. I want to talk to you today about vampires. Now, I avoided this subject because I talked a lot about it quite a few years ago. I've got a book written, Being a Psychic Vampire by Kate Galway. It's on Amazon. I have it down at really, really cheap as possible. Yeah, I did it all by myself, so I was really pleased with. I've got 3 books up there, and I've done them all by myself. I couldn't afford an editor or a marketer or anything like that, so I've never really made any money with them. So it was purely a labour of love. But the vampire side of things, I talked about years ago. I researched and things like that. I'm very much aware of the energies around me, and I'm very much aware of the energies inside of me. And I got tired, I got sick. I watched other people getting tired and watching them get sick, and I could see how the energies ebb and flow and ebb and flow. And when I found an online vampire community, I thought, wow, this is it. And then I found another couple of books, and it was like a big experience, because suddenly I found like-minded people who were experiencing the same sort of thing. So I researched it, and I did a lot of study on specifically psychic vampires. The blood drinkers, well, we'll leave that to another day, but the psychic vampires have got a bad rep. It's very, and you know what, quite rightly so, because a lot of them are unconscious, and a lot of them don't know what they're doing. And the book that I wrote, the conclusions is that we are all psychic vampires at some stages of our lives. When we get sick and low, we need to feed. And I'm going to use vampire terminology. So there are other aspects of this, and it can be you can use different terminology, and it makes sense that way. For example, empathic, because a lot of the people that are empathic are also feeding off other people's emotions. So you could call them an emotional vampire. There are shades of this, all right? So it can get people really, really sort of passionate and uptight about it. It can offend. So I'm saying that everybody's different, and I'm going to use vampire terminology as an umbrella term. So everybody at some times in their life needs to feed, but some people can't seem to get enough. And when I was looking at this, I could see myself in that. It was like I was constantly drained. It was like I was trying to feed a leaky bucket. It was just coming in and going straight out. And it was exhausting. Everybody was feeding off me. I felt like my children were draining me dry. It's very difficult being a parent, because that's exactly what you're meant to do. You're meant to feed your children. And yeah, we are not talking just meat and potatoes feeding. We're also talking about sort of the energetics. And there was a whole thing about when I was bringing up children that I was exhausted all the time, and I felt that they were little parasites draining off me. And it was, once you start using vampire ideas, it actually becomes quite visible. So the vampire stuff was personal, and I needed to learn to balance my energies. Now, I could be talking hippie shit here, and I apologize if you are not of that occasion. I think I'm talking mostly to BitChute these days. I love you, BitChute. Thank you very much. I'm getting far more views on BitChute than I am YouTube, so I probably talk too much politics for YouTube. But anyway, back to the subject. It's like energy. Energy flows where attention goes. Right now, that's a very, very true statement, because what we give energy to grows. And there are many reasons I want to talk to you about this in follow-on from my yesterday's video. So when energy gets low, when the vibration gets low, people start circling around trying to feed off you. It's like you can no longer keep them at bay. So even if you don't identify as a vampire, you still need energy. You still need to be aware of where your energy is and what you're giving attention to. It's kind of like a currency. So one of the things I learned about vampirism is that it is actually a cul-de-sac. Once you go down it, it's like, yeah, then, so what you do, you have donors. People will feed you energy. They're very nice. And yeah, that's just it. So that becomes it. And I wasn't happy staying there. So I moved on. I moved on from the vampire communities, and I found my own way. They're not nice. They're not all nice people. Vampires are kind of manipulative and things like that. There is a reason why they have the reputation they have. And I don't like that, because I feel that I'm not manipulative. I'm kind. I like kindness is my religion. I like being kind. People really can beat themselves up. I'm not going to do it for them. So my kindness was seen as a weakness, and I have a lot of compassion for people in pain, and that also was taken advantage of. It's my own fault. It's a good lesson. I don't regret it. So I moved on because I needed to find more, and I couldn't feel that anybody in the online vampire community that I was associating was looking for more. And I learnt that I can feed not only off people, but I can feed off the weather. I can feed off my creativity. I can feed off sex. I can feed off all kinds of other things than people. And it was kind of cleaner. There was also, I can feed off other people's pain. So I can lower their pain and their grief and their fear and their anger for just a bit while I'm in their presence. So it made me a very good acupuncturist, because while I sorted them out, I took away their pain for a bit, they come and put it back in again. People are strange with pain. If they truly wanted to get rid of it, there are ways of doing it, but you have to change your life. Everybody's different, but to take away someone's pain was quite a momentous thing for me, because suddenly I was making something good out of something that's conceived as bad. So in other words, when you take stuff from someone, you always get consent, but consent comes in many terms as well, and that one also can be corrupted. But to take energy from somebody who is suffering, that is, in my world, giving them an anchor in the storm so that they can get back on their feet. And there was 1 or 2 people I helped like that, and I was proud to be a part of their healing. I just helped them. I just took away their pain so that they could move forward. That was education. So energy flows. So it's visualization, and you can move someone from a state of being, and that is something that not a lot of people are comfortable with. And I get it. I get it. It's like, it's not a comfortable thing. So I wanted to get past all that, so I did. I moved into sort of energetics and creative circles. So when I was a teenager, I learned Reiki. I did my Reiki master at 21. So Reiki is a form of hands-on healing. So right from the start, I have been an energy manipulator. So I can see the ebb and flow of things. I think everybody can. Everybody should be able to. It's not a superpower. I'm sure my cat can, and I've seen my children when they were babies. They used to reach out. You pass your hand over the top, and they can reach out and try and catch the happy trails. I don't feel it's a common thing, but it was maybe much more of a common thing. I think a lot more of you out there know what I'm talking about. So the modern day vampires are somebody that drain you dry. So you go into someone's presence and you come out going, "What the fuck just hit me?" And yeah, that's not an easy thing. And you go into something like a hospital or a care home and stuff, and you come out like you've been sucked dry. And yeah, it's kind of true, because there's a lot of sick people who get sick are out of balance in energy. So to focus energy on a sick person is to feed them. And I used to do it to my children and watch the difference. So if the children were behaving little monsters, turn around and look to see how beautiful they are. Aren't they amazing creatures? Look at the growth they're making. And it taught me that feeding a 3-year-old is not necessarily the best idea, because children will drain you dry and then have a temper tantrum with that special energy that you just fed them on how beautiful they are, so they'll just throw it away. So yeah, children are the greatest teachers on energy manipulation and work. But I'm thinking that this is probably going to go over into another video, but we will talk about it. And you have to be aware of where your attention is going. TV. Are you getting angry at TV? That's triggering your emotion. That's feeding off your energies. Peoples, politicians, situations in the world. It's all feeding off your emotions. So what triggers you? It's very, very simple. What is your trigger, and how do you feel afterwards? sometimes you can get this like a high, and it's very much like a sugar high because you crash again afterwards. So watch your energies, watch who you are feeding with your energies, because there are so many unconscious vampires about right now. There are a lot of people in fear, and the fear is a scary thing because they're latching on to everybody around them. Feel my fear, join me in my fear. And it's like, stay out of that vibration. You can't do anything except step back and let them find their feet again. I really can say I've never found a solution to this. The other thing is, like, what do you do when you love someone? Again, you want to feed them. You want them to get better. So it is feeding them, but be aware of your own energy. You cannot feed from an empty bowl. You cannot feed others from an empty bowl or an empty bucket, because you have to be aware of yourself. And I think that's one of the lessons at this time for me, is keeping my own energy up so that I don't fall down into become victim mode. And that's what I'm suggesting today, is stay out of the victim mode. Be aware of your energy. Where are you putting your attention? And if you are putting your attention consciously to change a situation, imagine it better. You don't drag it down to a different level. So imagine it better. Imagine a government. Yeah, yes, I know. I'm being visualizing. I'm going to plant a seed. Imagine a government that is totally for your freedom, that is totally for your evolution, that wants to plant trees for the next 10 generations. So it's not looking short term. It's looking long term. Imagine a government that is so out for your individual welfare and your growth, your evolution, your health. It wants to make you healthy, wealthy, happy, and all the things that they have on the surface but they're not doing right now. But imagine the situation where you want it to be. Put energy into that, rather than getting all frustrated and irritated at the state of things today. Because I can assure you, you're just feeding the beast. You are giving it energy. Attention flows where energy goes. What do you want to feed? There was that meme about sort of which wolf do you want to feed within you, but it's also without you as well. Watch what you watch, because what you're taking on board is also is corrupting you. It's lowering your frequency and it's getting you sick. Okay, I may talk about this again in another video, because yes, vampirism is my specialist subject of choice, where it was for many years. So I will tell you more in another video, but at the moment, watch what you watch, and attention flows where energy goes. I love you lots, and I want you to take care of yourselves and each other. Okay, bye now.